I don't know if you remember the movie Backdraft, or if you've put a little too much propane in a barbecue before you open the lid, light it. But that whoosh, I've heard that, and I just knew it was pretty bad, and it felt the flames wrap around the and hit me and knocked me to the ground as everything else kind of went out and away from me. It's it was kind of weird to look over, and I could see like all my flannel had melted to me, and it was mixed with my skin, and it was melting off, and just running, and it's like, oh, Snowbank. So I just ran and did the best swan dive I could think of. And just laid there, just laying there. Heard the lady come up and go, "Hey, we got to get out of here." And I rolled over, and I was wondering where this woman even came from. I still don't know who she is. And she's like, "We have to go." I looked, and I started to assessing what was going on. It's like, oh, I didn't know my ears were melted either. That's why he wouldn't let me use this foam.
Oh, wow.
They were both that pretty good.
Wow. Wow. And so you crawled out, ran into a snowbank, you took your ring off, handed your wallet to the sheriff, told him to call your wife, say this, say that. You don't realize how bad of a condition you're in physically. That's not panic. There's awareness there. Where did that clarity kind of come from in that moment to just do the things that you were doing and needed to do? Before we begin, just a quick note. This episode discusses a severe industrial explosion, burn injuries, and a near-death medical event. We'll move through it respectfully and without graphic detail. If at any point you need to pause, do that. Take care of yourself. Now, some days divide your life in half. There's who you were when you woke up that morning, and there's who you were after the fire. March 13th, 2018 started like any other day for Shaun. Routine propane service, mechanical focus, the kind of job you do 100 times without thinking twice. Until something malfunctioned. A release, a cloud forming low to the ground, a sound he recognized, the kind that makes your body react before your brain can catch up. And then ignition. A 3,000-gallon system exploded. The shop gone in seconds. The structure that had been standing moments earlier disappeared into the heat and pressure. Shaun was underneath the truck when it happened. 46% of his body burned, multiple surgeries, pneumonia in both lungs. He coded on the table, and somewhere in that space between consciousness and whatever comes next, he had to decide whether he was staying. And he stayed. Not polished, not romantic about it, just disciplined enough to endure what came after. I'm Amy Pease, and this is Passion from Pain, where we tell the truth about what breaks and what rebuilds us. Shaun, thank you so much for coming on today, having the courage to tell your story and sharing with the world your comeback. It's an amazing story, and I'm really honored to have you on and tell it to the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy. That was an awesome intro. It's definitely not it started the day being normal, but then at the end, it was definitely not the normal day
Yeah.
without
I
straight.
imagine. I imagine. And so take us back to that day. You started the day like any other, and then it just hellfire breaks open that day, and then everything is different.
Yeah. So what I was doing on that truck, it was a delivery truck, like you stated. I was rebuilding the pump for that truck. So I had to evacuate that section of the system out.
Mhm.
And that's when a valve failed and what. So I crawled underneath the truck to unhook that valve. It was ran by an air ram system.
Mhm.
Tried to shut the whole system down. That didn't work. So I tried to manually do it. As soon as I unhooked the air hose, that's when the explosion happened.
Oh,
I
wow.
had all the fuel I was laying in and heard that whoosh. I don't know if you remember the movie Backdraft, or if you've put a little too much propane in a barbecue before you open the lid, light it. But that whoosh, I've heard that, and I just knew it was pretty bad, and it felt the flames wrap around the and hit me and knocked me to the ground as everything else kinda went out and away from me. But I was at the point of ignition. I think that's the reason why I actually survived the whole day.
Was being at the point of ignition?
Yeah, everything hit me, pushed me to the ground, and blew everything else out and away from me.
Oh, wow.
Kind of a weird deal. Because when the flames hit, I just rolled over and covered the back of my head, and
Mhm.
so luckily I had my hands back there with heavy leather gloves on, so it kinda minimized all the injury to my head, but my arms were all burnt in here and fun
Mhm.
day.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. Fun, I don't know if I would put that word to it necessarily,
Yes, I wouldn't
but
either.
definitely
It's a little
eventful and
yeah.
life-changing life-changing moments. We hope that life-changing moments come in very different scenarios. And so you're under that truck and this explosion happens, and what happens next? Is there anybody around? Does anybody see this? Are you trapped under the truck?
No, so I crawled out from underneath the truck, and when I
Mm.
stood up, I looked around, and my head's I don't know, I still hear the ringing in my ears. I don't think that's ever going away.
Oh, wow.
Just, and looked around, I realized the shop I was next to is gone, and
Mm,
then looked ahead, and there was a snowbank in front of me, so I call running towards the snowbank, but I really doubt it looked like running. But
yeah.
it's kind of weird to look over, and I could see, like, all, my flannel had melted to me, and it was mixed with my skin, and it was melting off, and just running, and it's like, "Oh, snowbank." So I just ran and did the best swan dive I could think of, and just laid there waiting for the sizzling to stop, because as soon as I hit, you could just hear that snow crack and melt.
Mhm.
So I just laid there waiting, and I knew I don't know why, I always tend to stay really calm in high stress stuff. I was
Yeah,
just laying in the snow going, "I can't move until my body cools off." I
yeah.
was just laying there, heard the lady come up and go, "Hey, we gotta get out of here." And I rolled over and I was wondering where this woman even came from. I still don't know who she is. And she's like, "We have to go." I started assessing what was going on. I looked, and all my clothes that were left was just like a little loincloth. Like everything else had been melted off of me and melted to me. One boot was still there. I was sitting there and she's talking to me, and I'm just like looking around, and I look under my loincloth. I'm like, all right, everything's gonna be fine. It's- Everything there's all right. Just and then the truck, she's telling me we gotta get out of here. Truck's gonna blow. Just in those big trucks, they have a internal pressure valve at
Mhm.
250 psi. When those
Wow.
propane tanks heat up, propane expands will increase pressure, so it'll purge to make sure the tank stays intact.
Mm.
And that purge went off, and I was told, "Lady, we're fine. The truck's doing its job right now." There was I don't know how long the flame was coming out of the back of it. It melted my service truck that was parked behind it, and then it was just purging out of the top a couple 100 feet. I knew at that point the rest of the truck was still fine, so we didn't have to panic, but
Mhm.
she got me up, and we walked to a pickup, and they set me in the pickup and drove me to the side of the road where I talked to the county sheriff there, handed him my keys, what was left on my pant, and pulled my ring off and gave him my wallet, said, "Hey, send that stuff to my wife," gave him a statement of what happened, and walked to the ambulance. Scared those 2 guys. They're opening up the back of the ambulance when I stepped in, and, half naked dude walking in the back of the ambulance can't make you feel good, I guess.
Right?
They both thought I had, perished in the fire. I later found out that, the department that responded on the
Mhm.
fire, the chief, he heard the explosion and started driving towards the accident before it ever even got called in.
Wow.
And as I was walking over the side, he rushed into the fire, tried to find me.
Oh, my lord.
He didn't even know I was out until I was already in the back of the ambulance.
Oh, my lord.
A couple of years later, I actually walked into that fire department and was like, "Hey, remember me?" And one of the couple of them was like, "Oh, you're alive. We all thought you didn't make it." Like, the whole fire department didn't even know I'd made it through the fire. Pretty crazy.
That is
Um,
crazy. Holy cow.
on the side of the road, somebody asked me if they wanted to call my wife, so I gave them the phone number. And remember the guy looking at me, going, "Is there anything you want to say?" And I was like, "Hey, just tell her I'm really busted up, but I'm not going anywhere." And he's like, and just walked off. I was like, "Ooh, that's when I figured out I might be worse off than I really thought I was."
Mhm.
It's like, "Oh, I didn't know my ears were melted either." That's why he wouldn't let me use his phone.
Oh,
They
wow.
were both done pretty good.
Wow. Wow. And so you crawled out, ran into a snowbank, you took your ring off, handed your wallet to the sheriff, told him to call your wife, say this, say that. You don't realize how bad of a condition you're in physically. That's not panic, there's awareness there. Where did that clarity kind of come from in that moment to just do the things that you were doing and needed to do?
I think a lot of it comes from, like, my parents put me in combat sports when I was a kid. So
Okay.
I got really used to just wrestling and all that youth stuff, nothing crazy, not like today's kids where they're in MMA at 8. I was in wrestling and just learned to really deal with high stress stuff and stay calm. And it just everything escalated through life, I just got to where when everything gets really ramped up is when I really calm down. Makes everything That's when everything seems to make sense. Oh, why? That's way more why.
Yeah, yeah. Was there any fear in that moment, or was it just action?
As action, I immediately started problem solving, trying to figure out what caused the ignition, just already trying to figure out the whole incident.
Wow.
Kinda weird.
Wow, that's incredible. Because a lot of people, most people wouldn't be able to, even have the wherewithal to take the ring off or even think to jump into the snowbank after something like that. Um,
Oh, if
but
you're hot, I'll about anybody to go jump in a snowbank if you're yeah,
yeah,
that's a instinct one. You're like, "Ooh,
there you go. Yeah.
there's my spot."
There you go. But to do all the other stuff, in the aftermath of that, and just not realizing how bad you were. When did you realize how bad things really were for you?
When I got to hell in a month, well, when I got into the back of the ambulance is when I really started. Well, one by that point, the adrenaline started dropping, and I
Okay.
started because like when I reached into the van, uh, saw just all the skin and everything hanging off this arm. Used to have a
Mhm.
tattoo there.
I will.
uh, so then you just start going, oh. And then as I was walking towards the ambulance, my father died when I was like 26,
Mm.
and my sister was 15 at the time. So, like, I remember in my head, I was like, "Oh, man, that was really hard on my sister." Like, just losing a father at that age and then having to go through rest of life without that.
Yeah.
I was just like and my daughter was 13 at the time. I was like, "Oh, like, I just can't do it to her." My son was 8. This is like, "Hey, I can't leave him." It's like, "Come hell or high water, I'm not going anywhere." But that's when you start, "Okay." Then I just thought it was mostly superficial because I hadn't seen my head or face yet.
Mm.
I didn't see that until after I woke up in Seattle. Yeah,
Mm.
it's just weird.
Yeah. So they took you by ambulance to a hospital in Seattle.
No, they took me by ambulance to Helena, Montana hospital,
Oh, okay.
and there the doctor there let me called my wife and held the phone against my ear
Mm.
and talked to her there, and then he goes, "Hey, we're gonna sedate you, and you're gonna wake up in Seattle."
Okay.
I was like, "Oh." He's like, "You're pretty busted up."
Mhm.
So I didn't, my ears were both pretty burnt, and all this was burnt off.
Wow.
It was pretty good injury.
You look incredible for what you're describing, I have to say.
Oh, it's, so I've one of my burn nurses told me she's been a burn nurse for 20 plus years, and she's never seen anybody back like I did.
Wow. So you wake up in the hospital and you realize you're still here. What did that feel like after what you just went through?
Um, So right before I woke up is when I had my near death experience in the hospital.
Yeah.
It's kind of so they sedated me in Seattle, and then well, they asked me where I wanted to go, but different burn units. There's one in Salt Lake City or one in Seattle, Washington. The
Mhm.
family's from Eastern Oregon and still lives there. So I was like, hey, it's close for everybody. We'll just go to Seattle. I was answering all these coherent and actually thinking about these questions. I have no idea, but yeah, and then thinking through it. So did that, and then so he sedated me, and then next thing I knew, I was just standing in a dining hall in a suit, and I could see the Seattle cityscape, and I was like, "Well, that's kind of weird." But like I said, I've been in combat sports. I've been hitting the head more than once. I understand. I've lost time in my life before. So like, oh, maybe I wasn't near as bad as I thought I was. Just everything got blocked, and kind of probably denying everything myself. And then I was trying to talk to my wife, and I just knew that everybody I knew was behind the store, and if I went through it, everything was gonna be fine. It's like, well, it's told my wife, "Let's go," and she was ignoring me, and I was like, "We gotta go. Everybody's waiting for us." Then kind of it dawned on me that the Seattle cityscape I'd seen was the cityscape my daughter had painted a couple years earlier in school, and I was like, "Well, that's weird." And I was like, "Well, I'm not going anywhere. She's
Yeah.
not coming with me. I'm not going." And I got really mad, and I started calling everybody everything, and I
Mhm.
woke up in the hospital. But at that point, I'd had a pretty angry with when I first woke up because I didn't think my wife would go to the party with me. Then I woke up and was like, "Oh, this is no party.
Yeah.
This is" 'cause, all I could see was the gauze around my lips, and I could see them being burnt. My nose was just charcoal.
Wow.
It's just my eyes were burnt, so I couldn't see more than about just 6 feet away. So that just looked like a white cloud. I heard a nurse start telling me, "Hey, your eyes are okay. They'll come
Mm.
back. They just got a little burnt." I was like, "Oh, this is dang, I am busted up."
Wow.
Then I tried to talk to my wife, and I couldn't because I was intubated. I had pneumonia in both lungs. That's what made me code. I had
Mm.
tubes in both sides, drainage tubes, and then all the tubes to keep me alive, breathing. I had to communicate by writing down, and it was a little rough.
I imagine. I imagine. I imagine. And so you're going through all of that on top of wound care, which is for that amount on your body, hours of a day, no doubt.
That
Uh,
was 3 hours a day.
Goodness.
So they had to use a straight razor, or not straight razor, but like single blade disposable razors because they can't reuse anything. I had MRSA in the leg, so I
Mm.
got my own room. People had to put on suits to come in and see me. So they'd shave your head, rip all your bandages off, and then start wrapping you back up. And that whole process is about 3 hours. But I was burned 46%, but whatever skin was left intact, they
Yeah.
harvested off me to fix the burnt part.
Wow. And just doing that over and over and over again. How did you endure that every single day? That had to have been painful.
Yeah. I listened to Jocko Willink good on his
Yeah.
Dis Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual.
Yeah.
It's in the iTunes store. It's a 20 something tracks. It's kinda like a little hit list on if you're having a problem with discipline, you go listen to a specific track. But
Okay.
this one he has good. It talks about no matter what happens in life, the good that could come of it and start focusing on that. So, like, in the early times when I was in there is I'd listen to good every day, just trying to get my mental just ramp up for it's not a good time, but get that ramped up and I just, okay, so the good of this is I'm gonna heal better. And as like that goalpost moved, I had March 13th is when I got burned up. Easter is the first weekend started to relearn how to walk. So it was like, "Hey, you gotta make at least 2 laps." And I was like, "I'm gonna do your 2 plus 2." You so I just listened to good, be like, "Okay, just keep on going, just focus on getting healthier." That's the good at that point,
Yeah.
trying to be better.
Yeah. And so, what do you think that discipline gave you that emotion really couldn't in that moment?
Structure, focus. I mean, 'cause I don't know about everybody else, but when I start getting emotional, I don't always make the bbest choices,
Sure. Yeah, no, that's everybody.
especially in that time.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, as bad as you want to just not move, because I mean, everything hurts. I had the backs of both knees are burnt, the skin grafts, the fronts, so it's like every flexing point just burns to move.
Yeah.
On the how many thousands of staples they pulled out of me just
Mm.
from all those skin grafts. So it's just like listening to that helps you get past the emotional part you're in and focus on the future that's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there a day that you just didn't want to be strong, the strong one anymore? You
Every
just everything. Yeah.
but, I was really fortunate. I really count my blessings. My mom or my wife or my sister, one of them was with me every day I was in the hospital,
Yeah.
which that gave me support, but also it's like, you can't be weak to mom. You can't, you know? You're the big brother. You gotta be a strong one. Or at least that's what I told myself today. It's good little mental gymnastics for the day.
And so I can't imagine, I have my husband, and he does his dangerous things as well. And of course we've had some close calls with him. I can't imagine being in your wife's position going through all of this. Can you I know you didn't have her experience, but can you tell us a little bit about what she's told you about how maybe she got through this experience with you?
Oh, yeah, my wife is a social worker, so she's already has a lot of those tools in her toolbox.
Okay.
But I tell everybody I've said since day one, I have the easiest part in my recovery is I have no choice. Like, well, I guess I did have a choice. I could either give up or not.
Sure.
But, like, she had to stand there and watch somebody she loved just torture every day and try
Yeah.
to come back from it. That had to be hard and not be able to do anything about it.
Yeah.
That, she's my wife's a very strong woman. I'm pretty lucky to have her. But she's, it's hard, and she really it's still hard because like, still worries I'm gonna go get busted up and
Sure.
end up in recovery again, and he's been right a couple times,
Yeah.
just I reckon, I do a lot of high risk things. They're pretty fun, and I'm just not willing to give them up.
You know, I was it's kind of a little sidetrack here. I was watching a video last night or this morning about raising boys and how this mother was talking about how it's so much easier to raise boys than girls. But what they don't tell you is that it's so much harder to keep them alive.
Yes.
And you know what? There's so much truth in that, being the mom of a boy and a girl and having my husband and it just you get those 2 boys together and chaos ensues, and it's, I don't know, kinda like a one up in, who can get the closest without getting hurt in doing the stupidest thing they can think of.
Yeah,
So
I think males are genetically just that's
yeah.
I don't know when we grow out of it, but eventually we might.
I think so, but I think that also gives you your resilience and your strength to push you through something like this in these kind of situations as well.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
gives you that mental toughness that you really need to overcome something like this because it's not easy at all.
No. And
Yeah.
I imagine if this had been my first injury, it would have been a lot harder.
Yeah.
It was definitely my first, like, big injury. I'd been
Okay.
had torn a bicep, had to have that surgically redone and,
Yeah.
you know, doing all my MMA stuff and motocross. I've been busted up more than once, so you kinda get when this happened, I was like, "Well, it's a lot longer recovery, but I know the process."
Yeah.
You just kinda eat good food and try to get your body everything it can to heal.
Yeah. And that's a big part of it is feeding your body exactly what it needs so that it can heal appropriately too.
Yeah, my wife, bought me cases and cases of this, 'cause I have a thing. It's been a joke since I've been in, well, we'll say since legal drinking age. If you if you're hungover, you just drink an orange soda. It'll cure everything.
Okay.
It's it's been a joke we've had, me and my sisters, all that. So when I got hurt, she found an orange drink protein shake. It's a clear protein shake, almost like a Gatorade
Okay.
from Premier, and she bought cases of it because I had to eat 5,000 calories a day
Oh my
to
lord.
get my body to recoup, and we didn't wanna just feed it junk.
Sure.
So it was just, if I was drinking anything, it was those protein shakes for just 2 months. I don't even know if I could drink one now, but I probably could.
I get it.
Just I got home and there was another case there. I'm like, "Wow, yeah, that's gotta go. I can't." I mean, said he
I
died about
can
5 of those a day for 2 months, and they burn you, and you're like, "Oh, just I'm good.
Yep,
Find me something
yep.
else."
Like, "Thanks, but no, I'm done with you."
But,
You sure
I was drinking those and then eating avocados, coconut oil, and coffee, and just trying to I was in really good shape before the accident. I think that was another part of it. Yeah, just eating good nutrition, eating good fats to help your body recover, good protein.
Yeah, yeah. And so you mentioned earlier that the nurse was shocked in how quickly you were recovering. Um, let's talk about your recovery process a little bit. So how long were you in the hospital and how long were they thinking that you were gonna be there?
I got in there March 13th. They told me I might leave by July. It could be August.
Yeah.
Walked out on May 5th.
Wow. Wow.
Is
And that was pure
m
determination.
part of it, and
Yeah.
just, part of it is genetics. I've always healed pretty well.
Okay.
I think it's just lucky guy, I guess. And then, like, but I know nutrition. I was a fit instructor just before this, and, like, I was already eating really healthy, and I already knew what good foods I needed to eat. So what was feeding me was pretty minimal compared to what I was taking in every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Did any belief beliefs about yourself need to squash or die in order for you to achieve the things that you did to heal the way you did?
No, the belief in me is why I did. I just don't. It, quitting to me wasn't just it just wasn't on the table.
Yeah.
It just, if I had to do it, this is what I had to do.
Yeah.
Like, I was doing PT, I was supposed to do it every couple days, and I was doing PT every day. I wasn't waiting. When there's like, "Hey, we need you to do 5 of these," I do 10. Like, I got back to when I started learning how to walk is they go, "Make at least 2 laps." I'm like, "Oh, lady, no way." And
Mhm.
still when I go back to that floor at the burn center, they're like, "Oh, the walker's here." So that just constantly going around there. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. They, actually did a story on me. Now my poster's up on the wall with some of my accomplishments, and to help other burn survivors was there in their journey.
Incredible. I
Pretty
love it.
fun.
Now you're this inspiration for everybody else there.
Trying.
And
Well,
and
I've
do
been yeah.
go ahead.
I was, last year when I was, doing a burn camp counselor for youth, one of my doctors was there, and he's actually the doctor, the reason why my face looks like it does,
Mhm.
Doctor Pham, and he did me well. Because this is all right on he said, "We can." His face is burnt enough to do the skin grafts on his face. He goes, "But I think he's gonna be prettier if we don't."
Okay.
Since he so he saw me this last year, and he's like, "Oh," he goes, "You're one of our successes." He's like, he's really happy to see me.
I
Like,
love it.
'cause it's just my turnaround's been so good, I guess. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, you think about what you've been through and how quickly you recovered from that, and then what you're looking like today, 8 years later, it's just I I mean, I wouldn't know that anything had happened to you just by sitting here and looking at you had if we were not just talking about your story today.
Yeah,
Um,
most people can't tell you,
yeah,
when I first got out, well, you could a little bit because I look like a wax figure, just that shine
Sure.
or whatever. But that's kind of dissipated over the last few years.
Yeah.
Then I've opened my mouth and stretched my eyes are really open wide. And that's fun to do to the kids in the middle school my kids were going to at the time.
And your kids, they went through this as well. And how did they handle everything?
Um, it, they have a bond now that if it'll ever get broken.
Yeah.
It's funny, they talk now, they're like, "Oh, when we were little," I'm like, "Oh, you're both still little, but okay."
Right. Except you're the same thing at 11 and 13. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was young, yeah, for when, like,
Yeah.
way back.
Yeah,
But,
my son shared some stories with back in the day. I'm like, "Back in the day? What are you talking about?"
I got tattoos older than you. You the
Right,
why.
exactly.
Uh, they were kind of bickering, they're kinda infighting a little bit like siblings do, but that really they pulled those 2 together a lot.
Yeah,
It was hard on them for quite a while.
yeah. So they found
Mhm.
strength in each other, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely support and strength there.
That's amazing. That's
That
amazing.
like, I don't know if this just recently happened because, I was talking to him. I've always been pretty open with them about everything.
Yeah,
Like, we just wanna let you know, like, we're really proud of you. Oh, wow.
yeah,
It's a big one.
yeah. I bet
Instead of
that's
them, like,
amazing.
see me come back from that, they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we lost all our excuses." So, they don't like that part of it, but
I mean, like, "If I can do this, then you guys can take out the trash, no problem. I don't wanna."
it ain't that bad. You'll be okay.
It's just raining a little bit, you could take the trash out. Yeah, I can imagine. They're like, "Oh, man, we got no excuses here." But that's gonna make them stronger. It'd be like, it's just to see what their father was able to accomplish,
Oh, yeah,
no
and I'm
doubt.
proud of both of them. I'm proud of both those people they've become. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. And so you didn't just recover, but you rebuilt in the aftermath of this. And so let's talk about the rebuilding stage. You rebuilt your body, of course. We talked about that. But what's going on in your life now? What are you doing with the experience that you had?
Yeah, well, I was gonna add on earlier when you said about life-changing experience, it
Yeah,
I find it a complete waste if you go through a life-changing event and don't change.
yeah,
Like, why would you waste that? You know, it sucked. Why waste it? So
exactly.
I came back and originally went to school to be a knife maker. I was already
Okay,
making knives before my accident, so I really just dove into that. When I got out of the hospital, my whole goal was to make knives.
I love it.
Then as that progressed, I went back to school to be a machinist. I got my degree for that. Now, a manual machinist, CNC machinist. And then my dream job that I applied for multiple times before I got injured came open. I applied and got it. Now I'm an operations manager for a motorcycle training program, and I'm also an instructor for it. Spend all my time, well, riding motorcycles, which is just terrible. But then it, talking to schools and power sports students, talking to them about the importance of doing their jobs correctly.
Yeah,
People don't get hurt on the outside. Talking to other riders, on them, hey, get some more knowledge, be a little safer on the street.
yeah,
There's a lot of talk about, well, look twice for motorcycles and all and that, which is really important. We don't have a lot of protection. There's not enough talk about the the responsibility of riders to learn better skills so they don't get in an accident. And when you look at it shows like 70% of accidents are single vehicle motorcyclists at fault, and that's the fatality.
oh, wow.
Failure to negotiate curve and all that. So after my accident, I'm like, I want to make the world better than when I got here.
Yeah,
'Cause this is a community I've been in since I was 3 years old, just in motorcycles. Now I'm using that to talk to other riders, train other riders, get them in classes,
yeah.
reduce fatality.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And, there is nothing better than, like you said, you don't waste a painful moment. And that's one of the goals of this podcast is to help people realize that these painful moments that we do go through, they're for a reason, and they can transform us if we allow it to do incredible things, but only if we allow it, right?
Yeah,
That's part
it
of the
says
purpose.
sometimes we are the only thing blocking it.
Yeah, exactly,
And
exactly, and I think that's one of the things that, Jocko talks about a lot. I've read a lot of his books as well, is, sometimes you're the only one in your way. You're like
it's a
big rock.
big deal for him.
Yeah, they give a lot of
Um,
excuses.
yeah. I sent his people echelon front
Okay.
email saying, "Hey, this is what good did for me." And they're like, "Oh, that's awesome. You want to come to one of our events,
Oh, cool.
then be one of the stores of impact." So they flew me to, well, I flew to Dallas, Tech. No, which one was that? I was, I went to in Georgia.
Uh-huh.
Went to Georgia and I met Jocko and I actually contacted his people. He owns another company who makes early American made karate or jiu-jitsu gis, jeans. Like they're making all the products in America. So contacted his people, asked for scraps, then used the gi material to make a knife handle and built him a knife. All made every piece of it in my garage, top
Wow.
to bottom.
How
That's pretty
cool.
fun.
I bet, I bet.
And they're a really good group of people. I mean, the people at Echelon Front are
Yeah.
they're always helping.
Yeah, and those of you that are listening, if you haven't even picked up one of Jocko's books, you need to. I don't think there's anything out there on the market right now that's written that is more appropriate, I guess, if you're trying to rebuild after something that's gonna give you the mental strength and the discipline to just keep going is it's all in his works and his books, and so it's definitely something that you want to, at least skim through, if nothing else, but definitely go pick up the books. Extreme Ownership is one of my favorite books that he's written, and he's got so many others, and there's so many talks, but, you definitely wanna start diving into his stuff. He was a big influence in part of my mental recovery, after leaving my mentally abusive adopted family. He was one of them. Of course, I was talking in another podcast about Bruce Lee being another one too, but there were so many of those figures. But Jocko definitely has the discipline down and how to educate you on how to do that if you just have no idea where to start. And so, if discipline is your problem, start with his books, no doubt. I love it.
It's a big part of my life still.
Yeah,
Still
yeah,
communicate with them, and it's pretty fun. Good
I
people.
love it. I love it. And so now you're teaching motorcycle safety, which is huge, and helping and kiddos. You're creating knives, or making knives. Are you selling those knives, online, or is this just a hobby, or
Well, the knife making really is going to be a business, and then I just turned it more into like part of my recovery. So, like,
Sure.
you know how with PTSD, it's you just get that you get stuck in a loop. Just a
Yep,
doom loop is what I call them.
yep,
So if I'm working on a knife and I'm worried about a scratch and I'm just trying to sand that out, it takes focus away from that.
yeah.
And then at the end, you're making a tool. You're making something you can use. Do fantasy knives. Mine are all hunting, camping, cooking. I do a lot of cooking knives.
There you go.
I don't sell a lot of them anymore. I make them and then
Oh,
donate them, raffle them off. I'm actually for this trip to Guatemala, I'm making a Damascus knife. And
ooh,
I'm gonna haul it down with me and then auction it off when I get back. Try to
wow.
raise money for the Burn Foundation does a camp I'm a counselor at. Firefighter Foundation also has an apartment next to Harborview,
Mhm.
and they allowed my wife and sister, my mom to stay there rent free for the whole time I was in the hospital, so I could always have somebody with me.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm trying to
Well,
raise money for them.
yeah, I love it. I love it. And when I was kind of recovering myself from my mental problems, I got into refinishing antique furniture. And same thing with the sanding process and stripping a piece of furniture down to bare wood. But it is that, getting into that flow state that just for some reason, it calms the mind when all you can do is just play that tape, play that movie over and over and over in your head. And, it allows you to think about it and process it without, I don't know, it's almost like it removes the emotion from it through the process of doing the activity. But if I
I
did
think there is. Oh,
well,
go
yeah.
ahead.
No, if I didn't have that outlet to refinish those pieces, and I've got some beautiful pieces in my home now, but if I didn't have that outlet, I don't know if I would have been able to process everything appropriately.
I think there's also just like a subconscious deal. If you're taking something and you're improving it,
Yeah.
like it lets you, especially like I'm starting with raw materials, and all my knives now are made out of like recycled old stuff, like
Oh, cool.
parts from a wagon from the 1800s, and just all the stuff I'm putting together to build a knife. So it's like you're taking something and showing improvement. So your brain's like, well, there can be an improvement. It's like getting that stuck in there of moving forward.
Yeah. And so you're creating this really cool knife for to auction off, for
Um,
this trip that you're gonna be taking to Guatemala. Um, let's talk about that because one thing I do wanna do is I do wanna put the link to where people can, um, put into to bid on this knife if there is gonna be one available. I wanna help you with that.
yeah, so what I'm gonna do is over the course of the next few weeks, I'm just starting like March 13th, I'll do some posts about making that knife and then talk about making it as I'm doing the posts, just try to get more
I love it.
attention for it, I guess. That and you know how social media is. If you're on there and you want to make traction, you have to post
Yeah.
pretty regularly. So and I don't want to just make posts for nothing. So I'm gonna do this knife and it'll be fun. I'll take it down, I'll use it down there and then bring it back and sell it.
I love
Raffle
it.
off.
I love it. And so what is this, Guatemala trip that you're going on? Let's talk about that a little more.
So I joined a group of adventure guys that we're all looking for an excuses to ride on motorcycles in other countries. And but there's a lot of humanitarian missions. And the guy who started this company, he works a lot with these different religious groups. And that seems to be in these smaller countries who helps all the smaller,
Okay.
there's no big government in Guatemala to help a tribe of people, a couple hundred. So they contract with these churches and religious groups. We're going to Guatemala. We're renting motorcycles down there, off road bikes. There's 10 of us. And we're going to load a water filtration system and some medicine onto our bikes and then deliver them into the Guatemala juggle. Then we're going to give the water filters to the village and get them set up, give them some
Yeah,
medicine because they have a high mortality rate with infant mortality.
yeah, yeah. How cool.
It'll
And
be
what a
fun.
great excuse to go riding.
Yeah. I mean,
I love it.
Well,
I
pretty
know.
fun. It's also gonna be new for me. I mean, I grew up off-road and dirt, but nothing like going through a Guatemalan jungle, so
Yeah, yeah,
a lot of us are already trained doing that stuff, it'll be good.
it is it a dense jungle? Is there a lot of ground cover? I know
Parts of
we
it, yeah.
yeah, we went to Mexico and we got to ride bicycles through part of the jungle, and I was amazed at how little ground cover there was, and you could actually ride through the trees pretty freely and easily where we were. I know Guatemala's, absolute a different country and whatnot, but
Well, it's just a little further south, and it's
yeah.
north borders Mexico.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's supposedly it's in the Guatemalan highlands.
okay.
They since I'm new, they kinda make sure all the new guys don't get too many spoilers, I guess.
Oh,
They want us to be they wanna see how we react when we're actually I'm hoping to come across, like, old Mayan ruins and stuff like that because 'cause we're blazing trail through the jungle that
that's
nobody's
gonna
been
be
through before.
that's gonna be cool. And you're gonna be, recording this the whole time, and then posting?
Yep, I got a GoPro. I'm hauling that with me. I'm trying to decide right now if I want to get a GoPro 360 to take with me,
Uh-huh.
or what the Max is what they call it,
Yeah.
or if I want to get a pair of, the Meta glasses so I can actually
L
just thinking that will help me with my knife making because people see my point of view as I'm
Yeah.
describing what I'm doing on the knives, and then going through the jungle, actually seeing the point of view out of my helmet, I think would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
All different toys. I just don't know which toy I want.
Exactly. What's gonna be the best tool to get the job done, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And so this trip is coming up. You're gonna record all this and then come back and auction off the knife for the the burn victims in the fire department. And yeah, what an amazing journey and just the really awesome good things that have come and that you're doing with your life after the situation that you lived through.
It's
I love it.
like I said, I'd really. Oh, look, a lot of people, they're probably like I was before the accident. Like, as I liked where I was. I mean, I'd been married for geez, 20 years, almost 20 years by that point.
Mhm.
I mean, good kids, everything was like, but I got stuck in a job that I just wasn't fulfilled in. Like,
Yeah,
it was a job that paid well, but it wasn't like, "Ooh, yay."
right.
So, when I woke up in the hospital, I was like, "Ooh, this is my chance.
Yeah,
I wanna go back to doing that," so,
yeah.
kinda different.
I think a lot of men in, your situation find themselves there. They're just doing the job because it pays well and it provides, um, but they're not necessarily aligned with it. And so having the opportunity to provide and do something that you're aligned with, that's a gift. That's definitely a gift.
That's a blessing. I
Yeah.
mean, I did a lot of the work, but I got pretty lucky along the way, a couple
Yeah.
to get me where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. What do you think people get wrong most about resilience?
Mm. They look for outside influence.
Ooh, that's so
It's
true.
and I still do. I mean, that's what the Jocko goal good. I but there's a point where it has to be from inside,
Yeah.
and then you just when you think you can quit, yeah, you got more.
Yeah.
That's kind of the when you just and I think that's usually like the tipping point of when it's getting better is when you just want to throw in the hat. If you hold out just a tiny bit longer,
Right.
might be improving, or you'll figure out it's just not that bad. One either I don't know which one it is, but one of them.
Yeah, have that moment and it'll all work out.
Yeah.
It will, it will. And actually I just recorded an episode on uh the idea of procrastinating on quitting. And and I can quit tomorrow, right? Tell yourself that every single day. And the difference between people who made it and those that didn't was they just decided to one more I'm not quitting today than the other guy. That's it.
I think a lot of mine is, like I said before, I was doing CrossFit. I was pretty heavy into it.
Yeah.
I don't know if have you ever done CrossFit? They have what they call
have.
hero wads.
I have.
The
It's
hero
crazy.
wads are a new level of just of them, like a 45-minute intense workout, 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow.
Did a couple of those, and all those I just wanted to quit in the middle of, but you can't.
Yeah.
I think I drew from it's good for you to go, well, I didn't quit when I did CrossFit, so I shouldn't quit during, getting blown up. It's like, but when you can remember back to that ever mental strength you had, push past when you wanted to quit, if you can recall that, recall now.
Yeah.
And if you've been through hard stuff in the past and you're struggling now, remember what you overcame.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone is listening right now, excuse me, if someone's listening right now who is in their own version of the fire, maybe not literal like you had gone through, but maybe just consuming, what do they need to understand about getting through it?
Mm. Hate to keep shouting out to Jocko, but one of his deals,
Yeah.
it's if you're on a target, they're all military, it's how they describe it, and you're looking through a scope, that's the only field of view you have. Everything else out here is you're just not intaking it. It's not even you don't see it. So there's times you just gotta take a step back, lift your head up, and look around and to see where you're at. And that alone is a then you might realize, okay, so it's not just this tiny little thing. There's a lot more going on, and this little thing's not near as bad as I thought. It's just like that taking a step back, taking a minute, take a breath, and realizing where you're at and where you want to go before you just go or quit.
Love it.
Uh, I just wanted to answer Christy Ann's question from Facebook. Put on there, what was more challenging for me, the mental or physical mental challenges? For me, it was the mental. The physical challenges I've already by that time already went through quite a few. Like I said earlier, doing CrossFit was a big one. That's really good for mental. Then just the physical part of it was just a lot easier for me to deal with. Body was already in good shape, and I already knew how to heal that. This is the mental part that was more difficult. It was when I first started talking to a counselor, and then I realized, well, there was a whole lot of stuff I had to unpack from my childhood and
Yeah.
growing up there before I could even attempt to figure out how I'm feeling about, the burns. That was a
Yeah.
whole that's still in progress.
No doubt, no doubt. And so the counselor, they took you through recovering from childhood traumas to get you to a mental state that you could mentally recover from this too,
Yeah.
then. Wow.
And part of it's just trying to figure out why we you were in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
boys weren't allowed emotions. We were just told
Right.
to just stuff them down. Then when you're about 40 and you go through something like this, you're like, I can't stuff anymore
Right.
down. So
Yeah.
it's like, you start have to unpack all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot better.
Well, that's good because yeah, that's I think that's one of the big disservice that we've done to our men is that you have to just shove it down and forget about it. And
We're
I
about either to be happy or angry. Those are the two emotions men.
yeah. Yeah. And that needs to change, and I'm happy to see that that is changing. There's a lot more men, like yourself, other men who have been through traumatic situations that are stepping up and saying, "You know what? No, that's not right." There you can still be a man and express your feelings and your emotions and still stand strong. Um,
I've found I can be a much better man and a much better.
yeah,
It's a lot better.
it's a lot better. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. There you have it. Men, if you're out there and you're listening and or watching and you're struggling with something and you're on the fence about going and getting help and expressing those emotions and dealing with those emotions, you have it right there. It makes you a better man, not only for yourself, but for the people around you that you love.
Then you might realize, okay, so it's not just this tiny little thing. There's a lot more going on, and this little thing's not near as bad as I thought. It's just like that taking a step back, taking a minute, take a breath, and realizing where you're at and where you want to go before you just go or quit.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I could chat with you all day, Sean, but I know we're getting to that time. And I definitely want to advertise and support your trip and what you're doing, and then of course your knife that you're going to be auctioning off to see if we can help drum up some more bids for your knife. So definitely, I want to link all of that. So I'm going to make sure that I get all of that from you. But is there anything that you would like to leave the audience with? Before we leave today, and then, of course, let them know where to find you, so they can get a hold of you because you're doing speaking, and you're writing a book too. Is that right? Is that what I heard?
Eventually, I hope to.
Okay, yeah,
It's whenever you start doing the speaking gig, that's always they want you to do a book
yeah.
to help down the road. I got that. And also, I'm looking at making writing journals. So, like, just an
Okay.
actual little one for camping. And I was like, why is there not one for writing? Because it'd be good at the end of the day. Go, hey, just journal all that,
Yeah,
keep track of past stuff. So that's another thing I'm hoping to do in the near future.
love it. I love it. Awesome. And where can everybody find you?
And you can find me at Man on Fire Moto on Instagram, TikTok, and those. Um, and I'm trying. Really do need to make all these the same, but then it's on free on LinkedIn and Facebook. And
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. And I'll link all of that in the description and in the show notes for everybody who's watching the YouTube version. And thank you, Shaun, so much for coming on. Like I said, I could chat with you all day. You're such an inspiration. And your story is just, it's incredible. And the strength that you have and the resilience, it just exudes from you. And I love it. I love everything that you're about. So thank you very much for coming on and sharing with the audience today.
thank you, Amy. It's pretty awesome.
Love
Your
it.
story's pretty good too.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Shaun. And there you have it. There are stories that you hear and there are stories that you walk through with someone. Today wasn't inspiration. It wasn't a comeback montage. It was a man under a truck, a sound in the air, heat wrapping around him, and a decision made in the space between staying and leaving. 46% burns, hours of wound care, breathing through pneumonia, coding on the table, and choosing over and over to come back into a body that hurt. You didn't turn this into a slogan. You turned it into discipline, and that's what really hits because resilience, it isn't loud. It's repetitive and quiet, and it shows up when nobody's watching and doing the next hard thing anyway. And if you're listening right now and you're in the old version of the fire or your own version of the fire, maybe it's not steel and propane, maybe it's grief, maybe it's betrayal, a diagnosis, failure, then hear this clearly. You don't have to be inspirational. You don't have to be polished. You just have to decide to go back in just one more day. And Shaun, thank you for letting us walk through this with you, not around it, but through it. And this is Passion from Pain, not a place for perfect stories, but for honest ones. And I'm Amy Pease. And wherever you are in your own rebuild, just don't rush it and don't quit on yourself. And we will see you next time. I love you guys.